सोच में सकारात्मकता लाएं, जीवन को बेहतर बनाएं। मनोदर्पण पर कॉल लगाएं, मनोबल अपना और बढ़ाएं। मनोदर्पण पर कॉल लगाएं, मनोबल अपना और बढ़ाएं। चलो आज ही प्रण ले हम, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य सुधारे हम। चलो आज ही प्रण ले हम, मानसिक स्वास्थ्य सुधारे हम। मनोदर्पण के काउंसलर से परामर्श पाने के लिए डायल करें टोल फ्री नंबर 844-844-0632। नंबर एक बार फिर सुने 844-844-0632।
Namaskar, good evening and very warm welcome to all the viewers who are watching us on eVidya channel number 6 to channel number 12 and also with our official YouTube channel. These are NCERT official and NCERT PM eVidya class 6 to class 12 YouTube channel. My name is Rajan Rajput and I am joined by sign language interpreter Ashish. Ashish, to welcome you in today's session. In today's session, we are going to discuss a very important topic in Sahyog session. So let me give you first a very short introduction of our Sahyog session. So Sahyog and Paricharcha sessions are brought to you by Manodarpan under the initiative of Ministry of Education as a part of Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan for psychosocial support and mental well-being of students. In today's Sahyog session, we are going to discuss topic is the psychological impact of a digital age modern loneliness। जी हाँ, आधुनिक अकेलापन जो है डिजिटल युग में मनोवैज्ञानिक क्या प्रभाव डाल रहा है आप पर, इस विषय पर हम बातचीत करेंगे मॉडर्न लोनलीनेस पर। तो क्या इसके इम्पैक्ट है, क्या ये टॉपिक है, इस पर ज़्यादा जानकारी हमारे एक्सपर्ट द्वारा आपको दी जाएगी। So here I am going to tell you mediums how you can connect with us. So first note down the Manodarpan counselors number that is also flashing on your screen, and the number is 844-844-0632. You can also connect with through our IVR number, and the number is 8800440559. You can write your feedback and also your suggestion on our official mail ID, that is sahyog.ncert@cret.nic.in. And for the viewers who are watching us on our official YouTube channel, live chat box option is available to drop your comments. So time to meet our today's panelist. We are joined by Sir Dr. Vareishang Tangpu. Sir, namaskar, warm welcome.
Namaskar, thank you so much.
Dr. Vareishang Tangpu is assistant professor in geology here you are joined by from NERI, Northeast Regional Institute of Education, NCERT, Shillong. And we are also joined by ma'am Mrs. Babita Sinha, practicing counselor. Ma'am, namaskar, आपका भी स्वागत है।
Namaskar, thank you so much.
So we are going to discuss an important topic. Let me give you again, the topic is modern loneliness and the psychological impact of this digital age। आधुनिक अकेलापन क्या है और डिजिटल युग के चलते क्या इसका हम पर प्रभाव पड़ रहा है। आइए इस विषय पर आप सभी को जानकारी देते हैं। सो डॉक्टर टंगपू से पहला प्रश्न लेते हैं, व्हाट इज़ मॉडर्न लोनलीनेस, क्या है ये एग्जैक्टली एंड हाउ इज़ इट डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द पास्ट सर?
Thank you so much for inviting me for this talk today. I think the slide will run parallelly on the side. Before we start talking into the topic, what exactly is modern loneliness? It is said that the fastest changing century in the human civilization is the last 100 years. It's all due to the advancement of science and technology. Now, if the slide is there on the right side, it is popularly said by a novelist and an author that we are never more disconnected than when we are endlessly connected. This quote highlights a modern paradox. What is the paradox? We are living in oxymoron. Oxymoron meaning contradictory era. On one hand, we say our life becomes very comfortable, very easy to live, very fast at the snip chat. But on the other hand, we are facing a sense of loneliness and isolation. That's negative aspect on one hand. and comfortable zone, positive aspect on the other hand. So we're living in the era of oxymoron. This phenomenon of modern loneliness suggests that while the digital interactions offer a sense of connection, there is an absence of gravity and authenticity of real world relationships. So leading to the feeling of disconnection. So yeah, this phenomenon is called modern loneliness. Now let's look at the digital paradox, what I was talking about. Here we see that millions of social media users, whether it is instantly or globally, or using 24/7, all this using various platforms and apps. So these are the growing stage, meaning digitally everyone is connected. If we look at the picture, many young people, even the old people, are seated together looking very comfortable, one self. But then, on the other hand, they are not connecting to one another. So there is a rising rate of reported loneliness. So this is a modern definition for the modern loneliness. So there is a decreased face-to-face interaction, shallow online, relationships, and we also see the mental health crisis, especially among the youth. If we move towards the next slide, we will see that there are different types of loneliness. Before I go into the types, let's see what exactly is the definition of loneliness. So loneliness is a subjective feeling of being isolated, emotionally, socially, regardless of what actually the social connection in real time is. So it is a gap between the desire and the actual social relationship. So loneliness is not just one person, one individual alone, but it is in context with the social relationships. So if we move on towards the types of loneliness, we can classify it into two types. One is in the social loneliness. It means it is the personal feeling of being disconnected from the social groups. That is, there is a lack of face-to-face social network. If we look on into the second type, it is the emotional loneliness. See, personal feeling of absence of close and intimate relationships with others. Actually, in the real sense, you are sitting with so many community people, but emotionally you are disconnected from them. That is what I mean. Now, looking into some key psychological factors that helps, we will see that cognitive bias. So it is a distorted thinking patterns that lonely individuals interpret social situation more negatively. So self-fulfilling prophecy is one thing. It is expecting rejection from others that leads to social withdrawal. Now, if we look at the third type, the attachment style, meaning there is an early relationship that shape adult social expectation. Moving on to the next slide, stop or PC or tab or whatever other gadgets, they are into that. So we also continue to see that 40%, there is a 40% rise in the depression rates among the youth. And we also see the low academic performance and the sleep disruption patterns is very, very much visible even in the classroom or in the social setup, social platform. You will see a number of young people just dozing away. So I would stop here for a while before I take the next question.
Yeah, very well explained, sir. In an era defined by constant connectivity, it is ironic to that feeling of loneliness are widespread than ever. The rise of smartphones, social media and online communication has revolutionized the way people interact, yet that their very technologies are here to connect and to contribute, but still we are defined by लोनलीनेस. जी हाँ, अकेलापन और आधुनिक अकेलापन जो कि इतनी सारी कनेक्टिविटी के होते हुए भी हमारे आसपास है. डॉक्टर टंगपू, आपने बहुत बेहतरीन तरीके से हमारे दर्शकों तक इस बात को पहुंचाया कि इस शब्द को कैसे समझा जा सकता है. वी आर नेक्स्ट टू अवर क्वेश्चन, व्हाट कॉजेज मॉडर्न लोनलीनेस आर एंड व्हाट फैक्टर्स और सिचुएशन लीड टू इट, डॉक्टर टंगपू.
Yes, we'll move on to the next slide. So before we just go ahead with the causes, different causes, we will look into the addiction cycle of using social media. So using social media is very, very addictive. Addiction comes from a stimulus. If we talk scientifically or psychologically, it means whenever we do some action, there is a chemical release in our body that is called dopamine. Dopamine is also called as a happy chemical. So whenever that dopamine chemical is released into our body, there is a kind of temporary relief, some kind of happiness, some kind of cheerfulness you will see. So that chemical again goes on craving for more and more of the same action. For example, using for a smartphone, into a social media, or any kind of gadget you are into, games, social gaming,
Right.
internet gaming. So that crave goes more and more. In return, there is an increased usage of that gadget. Eventually, that leads to a kind of total emptiness from the social setup. So that leads actually to the loneliness, individual loneliness. Now, if we talk about the psychological mechanism of this, we have about 4 mechanisms. The first one is the social comparison theory, which talks about the constant comparing ourselves with the curated online personas. For example, you see on the reels, beautiful, attractive, charming scenes happening all over around, personalities, lifestyle, dresses, or the scenic places. So in reality, you are far, far behind that reality. So you have that kind of constant comparison. If you look on into the foremost, that is nothing but fear of missing out, meaning the anxiety that you are missed out from the social experiences, because in reality, you are far away from the reality. Then social validation seeking, meaning how what you are. You thought in reality, you are far behind the level in terms of performance or your looks or your style or your personality. But when you are within yourself with the devices, you are on the top of the world. You are at the highest level. So that validation seeking is another thing, and attention residue is one thing that is very difficult. Focusing on present relationship due to the digital distractions. A lot of distractions, it leads to many negative impact in an individual. If we move on to the next slide, we will see why social media increases loneliness, especially modern loneliness. So it could be individual loneliness due to low self-esteem that is happening, and the work demands. For example, many young people are working overnight or working more than the beyond limited time, lots of assignment, time limits, time factor. So the feeling of individualism is another thing. Looking into the second type, the causes is of social, meaning you are declining away in a meaningful relationship, a quality time with the family, with the community, and also social anxiety, competition among the society, among the neighborhood, among the families. And the third one is definitely the technology. That is what we are talking about, the digital age. There is an increased screen time happening with everyone, to the youngest to the oldest in our society. And overuse of social media, be it Facebook, Instagram, X or Twitter or YouTube's and WhatsApp. And I must tell you before I conclude this, reels are very short and very rapid and very addictive. And one after the other, you can never take away yourself, your visual from the screen. That is how it makes it addictive, and reels are made so that everyone get addicted. That is how the companies are making up. So thank you so much. As of now, I'll stop here.
Yes, you're absolutely right. As more we connect online, the more disconnect maybe we feel from real life. जितना हम real life से disconnect पाते हैं जब हम इंटरनेट से जुड़ते चले जाते हैं, ये हम बात कर रहे हैं मॉडर्न लोनलीनेस को लेकर, आधुनिक अकेलापन क्या है और इसका मानसिक प्रभाव क्या है. सो नेक्स्ट हम देखते हैं कि कैसे पहचान की जा सकती है कि किसी बच्चे में अकेलेपन के हमें सिम्टम्स देखने को मिल रहे हैं। इस बात को लेकर मिसेस बबीता सिन्हा से जानते हैं, प्रैक्टिसिंग काउंसलर है मैम। सो मैम, व्हाट आर द साइंस दैट अ चाइल्ड इज फीलिंग लोनली?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for such a question. As sir has already explained most of the things which a parent should know. So now he has already told the causes. What are the causes? Now I'll take the discussion further. That हमें पता कैसे चलेगा? How we will identify a child is dealing loneliness or is feeling that loneliness is there. ऑलरेडी इट वॉज टोल्ड इन द सेशन दैट दो तरीके के लोनलीनेस है, एक सामाजिक और एक भावनात्मक, इमोशनल लोनलीनेस, भावनात्मक लोनलीनेस. सो द पेरेंट्स एंड द टीचर्स, एजुकेटर्स, लाइक the teachers need to understand what kind of loneliness it is. To understand this, like they have to observe the child in a brief manner. Like suppose a child is showing, one of the reasons can be at the school level, that if a child is showing a decline in the academic performance, one or test decline is not to be considered that the child is facing loneliness. But in case there is a gradual decline, and over a period of time for more than 2 months or 3 months, the child is not able to perform and there is a gradual decline, so then it can be considered, and still they need to observe. There are certain withdrawal symptoms from the group activities. The child will show disinterested in the group activities. That can be one of the causes. Then again, while as an educator, you can always interact and you can see the number of hours a child is spending on a device. That will suddenly increase. Difficulty in making, that's an advanced version. They will also find difficulty in making an eye contact. So that's again a very prominent symptom. Reluctance to participate in the discussion and increased absenteeism. If you see, many schools are facing this problem.
Ma'am, further I am interested to know that how parents and teachers do to help to the child is suffering from loneliness, and or how can adults support children to feel more connected and confident?
Yeah. Next slide, please. Before we go ahead for what are the strategies we should say, I will be discussing few case studies briefly. That these are the famous personalities. They have realized that they are feeling loneliness, they are facing loneliness and depression, and they have come up openly. So the earlier time was like the people were not opening up, but now there are famous personalities. The sports personality PV Sindhu opened up openly, and she accepted that facing loneliness, and then she worked on that. Actress Deepika Padukone, or there is an IS officer, Ira Singhal. She also opened up and she admitted that it's a very common problem which is coming up with our young generation, and we are ready to for it. As a educator, as a parent, we are ready for it because the family support is very important. Next slide, please. Here you can see that how you can identify. Next slide, ma'am. How you can identify as an educator, how you can identify it. There are many symptoms I have already told. The strategies, what you should be doing in the class is you can give up a project like storytelling, or you can take up any storytelling of any famous personality which is in and around you, or which is there in the news, which was there in the news, so they can relate. Taking an example which is it's not any example which is not relatable on an artificial character, they will not be able to relate. But taking a storytelling or any activity based or a case study discussion in the class with the prominent personality will help them. So they will feel more courage to open up, and they will be able to identify their own shortcomings. They can be given as the interest based clubs. They can form a club where the child is interested, where he or she is, because they are already facing certain issues, and giving their interest based, they might come and participate. So that can be one of the reasons. There can be a structured social re-entry in the group, because if you see, the child will be gradually सामाजिक लोगों से उसका मिलना कम हो जाता है, तो हमें ग्रेजुअली उसको इन्वॉल्व करना उन चीज़ों पे. सो दैट कैन बी वन ऑफ द थिंग. you can create a safe space amongst their own peer groups. बिकॉज चिल्ड्रन स्टूडेंट्स एट टाइम्स व्हाट दे डू इज उन्हें बहुत कंफर्टेबल लगता है अपने ही लोगों के साथ बात करने में. तो एक सपोर्ट ग्रुप वी कैन क्रिएट वेयर they can always keep a private check-in that they can always children who are close can always interact and keep a private check-in at the evening time also what is his routine or so that will also help. Again, at the environmental changes, what we can do or what the strategies we can do is we can create a phone-free zone at home by collaborating with the parents. It should be done because it's high time our children should involve or in such activities. There has to be at home also. There has to be a home-free zone. We have to design setting that so that the child is able to interact more. A child who is talkative mode or interactive and expressive mode. So you can create a pattern that both of them are sitting together, which will establish a peer mentoring. And at the home level, this is as an educator, I have given certain tips. At the home level, what you can do is next here as a parent, you need to interact rather than when a child comes from the school, rather than asking how was your day, you can ask that, you can acknowledge and you can share your own struggles or anything which has happened with you. So the child will be understanding that it's very common. Like when a child enters home and the parent can offer food and talk to them after water and all, then they can sit together and parent can discuss that today I was feeling this and I was facing these problems. So this is how I dealt with it. I suddenly called up my friend and I shared my problems with her, and then she took out a solution for me. So that will give an idea that yes, I can speak with someone at home as well. The child need to be given an environment rather than pointing out or being parents being lot of giving a moral lecture. They should be able to understand. They should be part of their this thing. We also need to acknowledge that post pandemic these things have increased. At times the parents they don't accept that it will happen with my child, so they first need to understand and accordingly they need to work. And one more thing what they can do is they can involve the hobbies what the child is having,
Right.
rather than forcing a child to go for swimming alone. They can always learn themselves swimming and they can involve themselves one or a hobby I have told. Similarly, fathers can learn gaming. A child is playing online games, so the father can be part of that gaming team, and then he can suggest, okay, now time over, now I want to take a break. So the
Yes.
child will understand gradually that after this many minutes, I need to take a break. I need to draw a line because as a child, as sir already told that the happy hormones are released, dopamine is released, so they don't know where to put a stop. So when the parent is also with the child and for hand holding is there, the child will understand, okay, this is the place I need to stop. And they need to be very much patient because it
बिल्कुल
takes
बबीता मैम ने हमें बेहतरीन तरीके से बता दिया है कि किस तरह से जो है इस तरह से बच्चों की मदद की जा सकती है. पेरेंट्स टीचर्स के रोल पर हमने बात की है और हम सभी का साथ एक ऐसे बच्चे की मदद कर सकता है जो कि अकेलापन या फिर लोनलीनेस फील कर रहा है. सो हम देखते हैं कि आज के सहयोग सत्र से हम क्या लेकर जा रहे हैं. सो वी टेक सम की takeaways. So Dr. Tangpu, what do you want to suggest for our audience?
Yeah, I would simply recommend in just 1 minute, the takeaway of this show is that we should not become slave to the smartphones, whether young or old or school children. And the way forward for the teachers should prioritize on human connection rather than anything else. And even the parents should prioritize on family quality time with their children, as Madam has mentioned. And for the students, the way forward is they should be brave enough to put down the smartphone and engage in the real world around you. So, just last like this, I would like to tell a famous saying by the Pope John Paul, the Pope Francis. He says, technology is not in itself the enemy. It becomes dangerous when it stands in the way of human relationship. So I think with that, all of us have understood that we should be wise enough to use the smartphone or any devices living in this digital age, and we should be the master of the devices. Thank you so much.
बिल्कुल सर, बहुत अच्छे शब्दों में आपने हमारे इस सत्र को अंत तक पहुंचाया। आई एम श्योर आप सभी आज के सहयोग सत्र से बहुत कुछ लेकर जाने वाले हैं। समय है कि हम अपने पैनलिस्ट को धन्यवाद करें। हमारे साथ हैं डॉक्टर वरेशिंग टंगपू। सर नमस्कार, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सो मच मैम, थैंक यू सो मच।
हम धन्यवाद करते हैं मैम मिसेस बबीता सिन्हा का, जो कि प्रैक्टिसिंग काउंसलर हैं। हमारे आज के सहयोग सत्र में आपकी अहम बातचीत रही हमारे विषय से संबंधित। मैम नमस्कार, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सो मच, थैंक यू।
सत्र को यहीं अंत करते हैं और हमने अकेलेपन विषय पर बात की कि किस तरह से मॉडर्न टाइम में अकेला होना, जबकि हमारे साथ इंटरनेट है, सोशल मीडिया है, लेकिन फिर भी हम जो है वास्तविक दुनिया में ये सिचुएशन फील कर रहे हैं। इससे कैसे बचा जा सकता है, कैसे इसकी पहचान की जा सकती है, इस पर हमारे पैनलिस्ट ने हमें बताया है। सत्र को अंत करते हैं और आपको कुछ ज़रूरी जानकारी देते हैं। पहली जानकारी टेक्स्ट बुक्स के रिगार्डिंग है। क्लास 4 और क्लास 7 की न्यू टेक्स्ट बुक्स अमेज़ॉन, फ्लिपकार्ट और एनसीईआरटी की ऑफिशियल वेबसाइट पर मौजूद हैं। आप यहां से घर बैठे बैठे अपनी किताबें मंगवा सकते हैं। कल प्रसारित होने वाले सत्रों में पहला सत्र योग शक्ति होगा, जिसे 8 से 8:45 तक आप सभी के लिए प्रस्तुत किया जाएगा। एक वेब सीरीज़ का कल अंत हो जाएगा। डेफ ब्लाइंडनेस पर बात हो रही है। 11 से 11:45 तक का ये सत्र है। 12 बजे इंक्लूसिव क्लासरूम का सत्र होगा और 2 से 4 तक कल प्रसारित होने वाले सत्रों में कक्षा 9 और कक्षा 10 के विभिन्न विषयों पर एक्सपर्ट के द्वारा बातचीत रखी जाएगी। 4 बजे का समय ऑनलाइन ट्रेनिंग सत्र का होगा और 5 से 5:30 सहयोग सत्र और कल 5:30 बजे का समय एक विशेष नीपा सत्र का भी रहेगा। आप परिचर्चा सत्र भी हमारे विभिन्न प्लेटफॉर्म पर देख सकते हैं कल ही के दिन, और साथ ही इन सभी प्लेटफॉर्म्स के ज़रिए यानी ई विद्या चैनल्स के ज़रिए और हमारे ऑफिशियल यूट्यूब चैनल्स के ज़रिए आप हमारे सत्रों का लाभ उठा सकते हैं, इसे शेयर कर सकते हैं और हमसे जुड़े भी रह सकते हैं। मैं सृजन राजपूत हूँ, मेरे साथ स्क्रीन पर साइन लैंग्वेज इंटरप्रेटर आशीष हैं। आशीष, आपका भी धन्यवाद करते हैं इस पूरे सत्र को इंटरप्रेट करने के लिए। समय है आपसे अनुमति ली जाए। नमस्कार।